Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Yehuda Niv with us today. He's a founder and CEO at Spines. He's an angel investor. Spines is a next generation publishing platform. It's AI based. It's offering authors an easy way to publish, distribute, and market their books. It's not his first company. He was previously leading Hook and is still leading Niv Books, for example. So quite an interesting guy there. He raised 22 million up to date, and yeah, 400 team members. So that's a lot of people. So Yehuda, welcome to the pods. Tell me a bit more about
Yeah.
yourself and what you're up to.
Thank you. That's a very nice introduction. Thank you. About 13 years ago, I published my first book, and then I realized that the publishing process is completely broken. I was throughout my master's degree at electronics engineering, and I realized, okay, I better do something about it. So I opened my own publishing house. I wasn't that clever about the name. I named it Niv Publishing. It was completely bootstrap, and it grew to become the largest publishing house in Israel. And about 5 years ago, I finished structuring the management team. Finally, I got my life back, and I started to travel the world, and I did some angel investor investing. And while I'm meeting those tech founders, I realized what they're actually working on, which was the AI revolution we are seeing nowadays. And I realized that, okay, this technology will revolutionize everything, publishing included. So I better do something about it again. So that's when Spines started. Started with my own capital. Soon I realized it will never be enough. So I started to fundraise. And then I went the road of the startup, like understand how to fundraise, how to structure a tech company, which was very different than to bootstrap a service-based company. And to date, we published with Spines more than 3,000 American authors. We are the fastest growing publishing platform in the States. We grew in revenues more than 10x year over year growth for 2 consecutive years. And we are keeping on growing very fast. And we're backed by top tier investors. Oren Zeev led our Series A. Michael Eisenberg of Aleph led our seed round. And we have some very interesting agile investors on board as well, like Senor, the Startup Nation author. So that's in a nutshell, okay, about my background. And a very nice thing that after 13 years of being in the publishing space, in 2 days I'm publishing my second book. By the way, this is it's in Hebrew yet. Eventually I will publish it in English as well. That's my second book that will be published in 2 days, and I'm very excited about it. For me, it's like closing the circle. Like,
Right. And what's the book about?
so it's a short text about my journey, both as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, as an investor, like lot of insights that I poured into, and it's structured very differently. It's like small fractions of me sharing insights, and it's a very different book, okay, than what you will mostly find. But it's focused on those who cannot sit and read the whole book. Like, they need to read a few pages, get an insight, and get along with their day. So
And do you think most books should be structured like that? Obviously, you start with your ICP in mind, but do you think that a book is all about the user experience and should be about giving them short serotonin shots and having them turn the pages?
I don't think there are rules to how books should be structured and written. Um, um, in Israel, I published more than 7,000 authors, and in the States, more than 3,000 authors. And I can tell you that I couldn't find two books that are identical. Like everyone is a little bit different. Every writer has his own vision of how the book should look like, and there is no one source of truth. Like you can write it in very different ways. My first book was a novel, okay, and it was a very very long story, and I was a student of electronics engineering back in the day, so that was my kind of thinking, like long story, complex, lot of details. And then when I became, let's say, um, a company leader, so now my thinking has changed. So I'm thinking very very short term, and very very focused ideas. So you can actually see that in my writing. So I think that everyone who is writing a book, probably the way of his book will be written is can give us a glimpse of how his thinking process going on. So if you have a very complex thinking, it probably will be a long story. If you are very sharp and focused, probably it will be short texts, and you can actually see that. So there is no one way to write a book. You can do it in very different ways.
And do you think books are scalable? Like, I'm not reading books nowadays, and I'm a bookworm. I used to read one per day. I'm only quizzing ChatGPT about deep research stuff. Like if I want to learn about something and go very deep, not gonna listen to an author, a biased author. I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT to take all of these sources around and sum it up in one nice thing. Not saying there's not valid books nowadays. There's very good books, but they're probably like the 1%, and 99% are not worth my time nowadays. And I'm not saying that I'm the average reader, but it seems to me that books are evolving and that consumers may want something different. What do you think about that?
So I get that, and I think that there is a place for everything, and a book is a long form of telling a story. We humans, we are a storytelling species. Okay, that's what we did. Okay, it started from drawing on caves walls. Then we created the Bible, and the only reason we know what happened on planet Earth is because people wrote about it. And when you are sharing an insight, or when that insight is based on a very nice story, you probably remember the ones that is based on a story. Okay, because that's how we can convey ideas forward. So taking insights and combine them into a story, it's a better way to make sure people will get the insights. Okay, and of course it's much more practical to go and ask ChatGPT. But I believe that the books are it's printed book is only one media that book can form, and you can also go to a digital version, also audiobook. So a lot of people are now listening to books instead of reading books. And I believe that in the test of time, eventually, the whole internet, the whole the knowledge that's available everywhere, who knows if those servers will survive. They need electricity, they need maintenance, and books printed, they will last. And I believe in 300 400 years time, uh, uh, that's the only thing we can bet that for sure will last. And that's a way to extend our existence. Okay, because my physical form will not be here in 300 years time, but my idea is my insight might survive in a form of a book. And someone might find it, as we found all the histories that was written by humans, and that's the reason why we know what happened on planet Earth thousands of years ago. And probably that will be the same reason why people we know what happening now. And my vision with Spines is, because of the AI revolution, I was pretty sure that's my chance of enabling at least 1 million authors to get their book published. Okay, because getting a book published, there are a lot of barriers. You have to first write it, then you have to produce it, then you have to distribute it, then you have to market it. That's costly. That's cost tens of thousands of dollars. That takes 6 to 18 months of a process. And what I did with Spines is we lowered the barrier. Okay, our tool soon will help you write your book. We can produce it instead of 6 to 18 months, only within 2 to 3 weeks. Then we'll list it across 100 channels, not only an ebook version, but also print on demand version. So you will have a physical form and also an audiobook version. And instead of the author, oh, sorry for that. Yes, that's fine. And instead of the authors going through an audiobook version process, which let's say you want to use his own voice, he will have to go through a studio. It will take him 40 hours to do so. We can model his own voice and can generate an audiobook with his own voice. And we only need 3 minutes of his voice to create a model. So we took all the technology that is available and we integrated into one flow. And as you can see, the costs, it's about 10% of what it will cost you to publish a book in the traditional way. So so my vision is to lower the barrier and allow more people to share their story, and being able to publish at least 1 million authors in my lifetime. That's the mission behind Spines.
Right. And this
Sorry
is
for the long
great.
answer.
Yeah, this is great. But like, I mean, I have 4 books that I did with AIs. I'm not saying that they're great by any measures, but the why was to get more clients. Like obviously, I posted a couple to just like give out free value out there. But that's the problem when you start with that mentality and not necessarily the customer in mind, which I guess like 80% of business authors nowadays. You sort of publish something that's suboptimal. And to my point about ChatGPT, can tell it to give out stories, and I would bet more on electronics than physical biodegradable books if I would want my legacy out there. So my point is just I feel humans, or at least business humans, are upgrading to ChatGPT to get their information. But to your point, I do think that some people just read to relax themselves, right? They don't read to get to a destination. They just read to forget about their problems and chill out for a second about life. And that's where they might just pick up a book and chill by the sun and read stuff, right? And not necessarily to get something out of it, but just to see where it leads them. And I sort of need to learn that, because I've never done that myself. I've always read with an objective in mind.
Yes, it's like there are those who read fiction and those who read nonfiction. It's two different personalities. Okay, but if you are a business leader, if you are a CEO of a company, if you are an expert in a certain area and you want to build your personal brand, as you did, publishing a book, that's the shortcut to doing so. Because we humans, we have this let's say idea that if someone published a book, is probably an expert. Okay, so instead of you trying to build your brand in a very complex way, you can publish a book and use that book to scale your brand, and now everyone knows that you are an expert in that domain because you've written a book about it. So a lot of how-to books, a lot of expertise books are being published, and the reason behind that is to build a strong brand in a certain area. So like you did, a lot of business leaders doing that, and that's a great approach to bring more customers in.
Right. And coming back to spines, you have, I guess, signature plans, the most popular, right? It's 2,300 USD at the time that we record this podcast. How many clients sign up for that on a monthly basis?
So to date, we've published more than 3,000 authors. I can tell you that that last month we have more than 300 authors joining our calls, and a month by month you can see the titles being published increased. And my mission for this year is to finish this year with more than 6,000 authors. My 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 original goal was 8,000 authors, but 6,000 seems high enough. I think you are
Oh,
mute. Yes. All right.
yeah. Did you follow what happened at Scribe Media? Like about 2 years ago, I think the agency went down or some kind. I know that they're more of an agency and you're more on the software side of things, but have you followed what happened back then? And have you diagnosed like why this happened?
No.
Okay, Scribe Media, they're the folks that wrote David Goggins' books and,
Mhm.
like a bunch of famous people. And yeah, they sort of went under because their staff, was quite expensive. I guess you're running more on the agency side of things, but on the software side of things, but you do still have humans reviewing the books, the manuscript, right?
Okay, so that's why we have different plans. If you are a very tech savvy author, you can use our lower tier, and you will have no human assistance, and you will have to go through the process by yourself. But if you are a 70 years old grandma, you'll probably need our assistance to navigate the system. That's why we offer more tiers, which included manning the loop that can help you accepting all the decisions, making all the decisions in the publishing process. Um, and and regarding what you just said, so in Israel, in Niv Publishing, which I'm not being managing for the past 5 years now, I have a very strong CEO that managed it for me, and we've been able last year to publish 1,200 authors in Israel, and to do that, we hire a 400 team members team, okay, to getting 1,200 titles published a year. But with Spines, last year we published 2,000 titles, and we did that with less than 100 people. Okay, so it's more than double the titles amount and quarter of the personnel is needed. And the only reason we're able to do that is because we boost our process with AI. We can save a lot of time, we can save a lot of costs, we can help more authors getting their book being realized, we can lower the barrier of and eventually empower authors. Okay, because we are not here to replace the authors, we are here to empower them, to make sure that more authors are able to complete the process. And to do that on scale, we cannot rely on more and more people. We have to rely on more and more technology. That's my agenda. You know, I can hear you again. Sorry. Okay.
Yep. Thanks for mentioning
Right.
that. So here's the platform here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one that caught my attention is like the agents, right? Because you can
Yes.
publish a book, but it may be crickets, once you publish it. So, what's your process to, yeah, have a book like become popular and actually successful and hit top charts again and again on Amazon? Like, do I really need to hire an agent? Like they're just well connected, or can I just like invest a bunch of budgets and give it out for free to my ICP? What's your book commercialization
Yes.
recipe?
So the agent part is only a database. Okay, for let's say if you publish a book with Spines and you want to reach out to an agent, we have this database for you to use, so you can reach out to them. But actually, we have also a marketing platform. Okay, so the publishing has four different steps. The first one is to write it, second is to publish it, then distribute it, then market it. Okay, we can help you navigate through the publishing process. The book is published, then the book is distributed across 100 distribution channels: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Baker and Taylor, Booking Million. We publish it everywhere. We manage the royalties for you instead of you going and taking care of all the royalty management. Our system do it for you automatically, And also we have a marketing tool. So let's say you want to create an AMS campaign for your book. That's a rocket science. You have to understand performance marketing. Probably most of authors will go through an agency. They pay them a retainer, a minimum of 3 months. On top of that, they will have to add the marketing budget. So and so what we did is we saved all of that. We connected directly to the performance marketing platform. The author only need to choose a monthly budget. Our system creates the banners, the creatives, the campaigns for him, manage everything for him, and eventually, when the book sells, he can collect the royalties through our system. So what we're trying to do with Spines is a 360 degrees solution for authors, A to Z solution to authors. Soon we are releasing our writing assistance tool as well. So let's say you only started writing your book, you were stuck about 30%, 40% of writing, and you have no time or idea how to continue your book. You can upload your manuscript to the system, whatever you've completed, and our AI assistance tool will guide you through the process to help you finish the writing, give you ideas, and give you motivation to finish the writing process. Then we will help you through the publishing process, then the distribution, royalty management, and of course marketing. And now we are started to playing with more languages. Okay, so instead of you being only an American author, why not translate your book to 5 more different languages? And now you're international author. You can double your reach of potential authors for potential readers, because the opportunity nowadays is not only in the American reader market, but it's a global opportunity, and we can help our authors reach more audience faster with the writing, with our tools.
Do you take a percentage of royalties?
Yes, we take 30% cut. Okay, so we manage everything for them, and actually that's a very good deal for the authors, because on other publishers they are getting somewhere between, let's say, 30 to 10% of royalties, and we can actually pay 70%, up to 70% of royalties to authors. Depends of from which platform the book was sold.
Right. I also saw like podcasts on your website. So what's your thoughts on converting podcasts into audiobooks, or converting podcast content into actual physical books?
So we have a very long roadmap, okay, and we are planning a lot of features, and eventually one of them will be, if you have, let's say, 20 chapters of a podcast, you can transform them into a book. Of course, you will have to go through the book, you will have to edit it, and vice versa. Okay, we can turn your book into a series of podcasts. Okay, so and we are actually planning a lot of features of transforming between and into book format. Okay, so let's you like to create an online course. Okay, so a book is a product, and let's say somewhere between $10 to $30, but an online course, that's a product that you can sell for $500, for $1,000. Okay, so eventually Spines is of course we are starting with books because that's what our domain's expertise are, but we are planning on becoming a multi-channel for creators to not only publish books but to publish content, to market it, to manage it, to distribute it across all different channels and different formats, books, podcasts, online course, who knows. So we have a very long roadmap. We are now focused on books. That's what we are doing best, and soon we will start to release more features.
What are your top objectives this year? Did you raise capital? What is your focus other than this beautiful roadmap of yours? What's your priorities as a CEO?
So currently we are the first to market. Okay, still there aren't any significant competitors that can actually take the whole process from A to Z as we do and power it by AI. a lot of self-publishers, a lot of publishing self-publishing solutions, a lot of man-in-the-loop solutions. But A to Z solution, which is AI-based, the only reason we were able to do that is because we come from over a decade of experience in the industry, and we have a lot of know-how, and we poured all of that into the product. And since we are the first to market, it's a huge opportunity for us to grow fast, to seize a bigger chunk of the market, and that's why we raised all that capital to keep develop the product and grow faster than we were. It's a game of speed. I believe that in 2 years' time, we will not be operating alone, but now we are still the first to market, and that's the opportunity.
Cool. And last but not least, I want to know about some of the best business books, or maybe self-improvement books or fiction books that you're reading nowadays. What do you have to recommend to us CEOs?
I think that for an entrepreneur, one of the most important books is The Hard Thing About the Hard Things of Ben Horowitz. Okay. If you are trying to build a startup company, you have to read that, because what he went through is what is waiting for you. And if you want to scale that to the highest level, and it's good to know what is awaiting you if you choose a certain path. Okay, so there is a reason why it's called high tech. It's a roller coaster. Okay, and you have to ride the roller coaster, and you have to win eventually. And from the side, it seems easy. You raise all that capital, you can hire all the talent, you can grow fast, you have an amazing product. But the day to day, as an entrepreneur, you probably know that it's a very challenging mission, and it's a very challenging lifestyle. And I think that every entrepreneur has to read this book.
Love that. Well, Yehuda, thanks for coming on today. Where can people find out more about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Yehuda Niv in English. You can find me on Instagram. Most of my content in Instagram is in Hebrew, but I'll soon start my Instagram page in English, and there will be more, let's say, insights that I could share. And of course, if you want to publish a book, go to spines.com. And if you want to publish a book in Israel, go to nivpublishing.coil.
So that was Yehuda Niv.